Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today for this webinar. Like Marcy has mentioned on the chat, please feel free to introduce yourselves. We'd like to know where you're joining us from. In case you have any questions, if you'd like to raise some concerns, please feel free to just type that in the chat. But I just want to thank you once again for joining us. So my name is Fiona Makayoto, and I support communications and outreach at the African Center for Technology Studies. And it's really an honor to have you here today for the AI4D Innovation Scaling Challenge. And so this is all about advancing responsible and inclusive AI innovations for sustainable development in Africa. For our attendees joining us from French-speaking countries, bonjour, merci beaucoup, bienvenue. Please feel free to, again, introduce yourselves in the chat. So I will take us quickly through the agenda for today, what we'll be discussing. We will be what we have in terms of capacity strengthening. We'll look at eligibility requirements for the call for proposals. We'll also look at some of the key benefits for innovators, the expectations and ethical considerations. We'll also have a look at data collection, and then we will highlight the important dates that you should take note of, and then the application process. And then now we're going to have a Q&A session, a question and answer session right after. And so here you'll be able then to raise your hand and maybe just speak to some of the questions that you have. So I will then quickly introduce the team that is here with me today. I'll just mention them by name, but then you will get a chance to hear more from them as they present on the webinar. So we have Dr. Winston Ojenge, who's the lead of the ACTS AI Institute. We have Dr. Grace Lea. We have Dr. Jeremiah Nunga, Miss Mercy Ayub, Mr. Samuel Wanjau, Linus Migele, and Mark Muinde. So thank you so much once again for joining us. Now, I'd like to just take us through a very brief introduction on what ACTS is about and why this innovation challenge. So ACTS is a research think and do tank that was established in 1988 by the science, technology, and innovation guru, Professor Callistus Juma. And we are very honored to continue pushing forward his vision for Africa through ACTS. And so how do we do this? We have key programmatic areas where we are addressing some of the various challenges we are facing, not only as a country, but as a continent. So we have the agriculture, food, and nutrition security program. And here we are looking at matters, say, post-harvest losses. How do we optimize value chains in terms of the agriculture space? And then we have the climate resilient economies program. And here we're looking at matters, climate adaptation, climate finance. How do we address this giant that is climate change? I know where you are. I'm sure you're experiencing some changes in the weather patterns and other long-term issues. So we have that program. And then we also have the science, technology, innovation, knowledge, and society program. We have the Gender, Youth, and Inclusive Development Program, and here we look at matters of gender, youth, how do we bring them on board to push forward this agenda of sustainable development in Africa. And then finally, we have the ACTS AI Institute, which was previously the Digital Economies Program. And we were very proud to actually launch this a few weeks ago. And this is where now the Innovations Challenge is hosted. So that's a very brief introduction about ACTS. I will then ask my colleague, Dr. Jeremiah Onunga, to take us.
Thank you very much, Fiona. And I want to welcome all attendees to this function. I'm called Jeremiah Onunga, research fellow with ACT AI, and it's my pleasure that I take you through this program. So I want just to introduce the program that we are going through. So the program is AI4D, that is artificial intelligence, and it is supported by IDRC and FCDO of UK. And it is being managed by the Lab for Ethics, Policy and Scaling of AI, LEPSI, at AX AI. So the goal for this is to foster safe, inclusive, and responsible AI ecosystems addressing development challenges in sub-Saharan Africa. We are in phase two, that is building on phase one. Phase two started in 2024, and it's building on AI4D Africa phase one that started 2020 through to some parts of 2024. So then we are scaling impactful AI solutions that are going to shape responsible AI policies. That is what this program is all about. So then I just want to take a few minutes to do a recap of our first webinar. Remember, we did our first webinar in July, on July 25th, 2025. This one was done between 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And during the session, participants raised a number of important questions, and some of the main questions, just but a few, we picked on three. So the questions were around what is AI for the innovation scaling challenge. I think that is explained. It is a scaling innovations challenge that is being supported by IDRC and UK FCDO, and it's being managed by LEPSI. That is in ACTS as the mother organization, and then being managed by ACTS AI Institute. And we also talked about institutions that were eligible to apply, and in this case, we're saying they must be sub-Saharan. The innovations that need to be scaled must be in sub-Saharan Africa. And we had in the call, we were able to, put in the list of these countries that are eligible. And what types of AI solutions are eligible? We were saying that these ones are the solutions that are eligible are those ones that have been deployed and now needs to be scaled. It could be geographical, it could be horizontal, or any type of scaling, but it must be a solution that has been deployed and as is impactful and needs to be scaled to a region, a larger region, add functionalities, or take it to another larger geography. So for more details, we also add FAQs that we summarized and placed on our website, and the link is provided here. We also recorded the first webinar, and we also shared this on YouTube, and we've also provided the link to that here. So maybe after this, you may decide to listen in, or you may get to the FAQs and then get to understand more about this kind of initiative that ACTS AI Institute is managing. Then the challenge overview. So we are going to support scaling of deployed in-use AI innovations with significant social and commercial, the social and economic impact. We are looking at gender equality and inclusion. So then we also need to bring in youth, we need to bring in women, we need to bring in our members of the society who are able differently. We are looking at solutions that are addressing climate change, coming up with mitigation adaptation solutions. We are looking at solutions that are going to capacity build and bring out our technical expertise. And then we are also looking at solutions that are going to address agriculture and food systems. Just like Fiona was able to say that we are trying to make sure that we reduce on wastages, post-harvest wastage losses and stuff. So stages of innovation, some of the stages that we are talking about, the ideation stage, the proof of concept stage, MVP stage, pilot stage, and early deployment stage. But for the purposes of this call, we are looking at solutions that are beyond proof of concept stage. So then they should be at the MVP stage. If they are at pilot stage, well and good. If they are at the early deployment stage, well and good. But they must be beyond proof of concept stage. Thank you, Mark. So scaling innovation, what is it? It is expanding the model's capability or deployment. You increase data, maybe increase computational power. You apply the AI system across more use cases, say more users, or different environments or geographies. So the goal is to maximize impact, performance, and reach of the solution. Some of the types of scaling for your information include horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, functional scaling, ecosystem, franchise, modular, impact, and platform. So you need to tell us which type of scaling are you doing. Are you doing an horizontal scaling? Are you doing a vertical scaling? Are you doing functional scaling in terms of adding functions to or modules to your application? Or are you moving from one geographical area and to another? Or are you changing the ecosystem among others? I would, Mark, I would invite Grace to continue.
Thank you, Dr. Jeremiah, and thank you everybody for finding time to join today's second webinar. So my name is Grace Leah Okundi. I'm a research fellow at the ACTS, based at the ACAI, that's ACTS AI Institute. So I'll take you through the capacity strengthening. Basically, here we're looking at sustainability. How are you going to engage your innovation in a sustainable way? At the end of the day, building capacity for continuous self-improvement of your innovation. And still under capacity strengthening, we're looking at a holistic approach that you're going to engage with you upon becoming successful, to develop your skills, to develop your innovative processes, and even the different phases of your AI solution. So specifically, you're going to look at the complementary activities that will, Mark, kindly just go back to this. Yeah, we look at activities that will be provided to strengthen the capacity of you as a beneficiary of the AI4D scaling innovation. And we're looking at three major things. One, the SRISE, that is the scaling of responsible AI solution, where we'll have a mentoring or a mentorship program throughout the 12 months period. 2, we are going to look at sensitization of responsible data collection framework. So we'll have there's a data collection framework that is aligned to this scholarship or this scaling program, and we'll sensitize you on how to responsibly do data collection, conduct all that, and also be able to present your work. And 3, we have the AI policy brief development, which will be part of the capacity strengthening program that we have. So at the end of the day, we are looking into having you as a beneficiary to engage in a process of enhancing your knowledge, your skills, and even your abilities with the respect to the resources and even the innovations that you'll be able to engage with. So thank you so much. I want to welcome Mercy to take us through the next topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace and team for the elaborate presentation. So we'd like to look at the requirements for you to be eligible for this kind of call, the Scaling Innovation Challenge. So who can really apply for this call? I think from the previous webinar we did discuss, I think, but for people who are coming in for the first time, so you can apply as an individual researcher if you have an application that needs to be scaled in different ways that Dr. Jeremiah has indicated. You can also come in as an AI startups or an SME. So what matters is the kind of innovation that you're bringing if it's at a scaling stage. You can also apply as a research institution. That includes maybe a university or academic or an organization that is delving into research, or you can come in as a group, a consortium. We put a group of different institutions together. So these institutions must be based in sub-Saharan Africa. And I think if it's a consortium, you have to be an organization, the lead organization has to be from sub-Saharan Africa. So there's a list of the eligible countries in sub-Saharan Africa with a few exclusions. I think I will post the link to the call. There's a list of the countries that are eligible. And what are the requirements for your solution? So as Dr. Ununga has indicated, it has to be an innovation that's beyond proof of concept. That's something that you prove that can work. And now is that maybe an MVP or a pilot or early scaling stage. So you are eligible to do that. Then you can deploy that innovation in real life conditions and not data that is online or secondary data. So ensure that your innovation can be deployed in conditions that are in real life. Then it has to address a specific problem in focus areas. So if you check the call, there are 4 main preferable focus areas that you have targeted. You're in a position to get them from the call. So I think I'll check that. Then demonstrate scalability and sustainability. So you have to show a sustainability plan that you can sustain this, if possible, beyond what we are offering. Then you have to engage the user community. So as you're developing this innovation, and yes, you're deploying it in real life conditions, how are you engaging your community? So ensure that you have a user community that you are actually engaging. If you have any question, I think you can post on the chat on the Q&A section about this, but you can also send your questions later. I'd like to welcome my colleague Linus for the next section. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mercy, and my other colleagues for laying that very strong foundation into this. And welcome all participants to this webinar. My name is Linus Miguel, a research assistant at the Arts AI Institute. And so if you go through the RFP in our website, you'll realize that upon your success towards this grant, the benefits for you would be financial support to scale your innovation, plus a technical assistance via SRISE program. SRISE now Scaling of Responsible AI Solutions program, and the monetary benefit is up to $100,000 US. And then you'll also be able to have access to other innovators, researchers, policymakers, and funders with tailored training on responsible AI. That's now the networking opportunities and the training that you'll also benefit from. You'll also have access. You'll also have assessment and policy whereby you'll access third-party evaluation on ethics, gender equality, and inclusion with guidance on the ethical considerations. And finally, there will be a potential follow-up on funding for responsibly scaling your innovations. More on these benefits you can also as well read on the RFP available on our website. Thank you, and back to you, Grace. Grace, are you there? Hello, Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Grace?
Yes, you may be having technical.
Okay. So maybe I could also come back and take you through expectations and ethical considerations. We really need to undertake some of these innovations in a very ethical manner. So then there are these considerations that we need to put into consideration as we come up with applications. The expectations to the innovator are: you are expected, if you are lucky enough to be awarded the grant, to implement the project per agreed work plan. You are supposed to participate in our SRISE collaboration, that is the mentorship. You are also expected to provide regular progress updates. You are also expected to share insights and lessons learned, and then share insights and lessons learned. Then the ethical framework that we are considering for this particular call, it must be solution oriented, practical in nature, but very simple to users. It needs to be user centric in terms of even if you are coming up with a problem, we need to understand whether you were able to consult or design it with the user community. So then it serves their needs. We don't want a situation where we come up with solutions that after the funding period is done, then it is not used by anyone, or it becomes too complex for users. So we want the solutions that are very user-centric, and the community that is going to use this application has worked with the application from a problem definition to when data is being collected and to when different use cases are developed. Then you need to also take into consideration responsible AI practices. The practices would include no harm to others. The solution should not be a solution that is going to harm other human beings. It needs to be fair. It needs to take into consideration issues of bias, among others. Then it needs to be, when it is fully deployed, then we have it, say, on an open source platform. This is a policy that is being promoted by our fund at the IDRC. So then it, at the end of the day, this application is beneficial to many people who would need to use it. So then, even if it is data sets from the application, if it is the application itself, then it becomes approachable. If it is data sets, then someone with another related applications may also have access to the data sets and maybe use it for their applications, or even for scaling further of that application. Then it really need to be sustainable. It really need to address sustainable scaling potential. Sustainable scaling potential is where we're now asking whether is it going to be there beyond the funding? Is it going to be, is it going to sustain itself beyond the funding? So then we don't have a situation where we make applications and when funds are done, then the application is also done. Next slide. Dr. Jenge, I would want to welcome Dr. Jenge to take us through data collection.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah. We think, we are convinced that data collection is probably one of the most important stages of this development cycle of your AI. And therefore, we are suggesting that let you indicate a user-centric data collection regime. And that implies that you would need to engage with a representative sample of the user community. If, for instance, you're dealing with, in a district, you're dealing with maybe small-scale farmers and they total, say, 5,000, it may be difficult for you to collect data from 5,000 people. You may want a sample, but let your sampling be as representative of the user community as possible. Then it would definitely need to be high quality data for precision. There would need to be open access data policy within your entire process of collection, of storage, of using, and later, if at all that data needs to be disposed or not. So those are supposed to respond to regulations that are within your space. Then we would also need solution-oriented studies, and therefore the data should be practical, should be empirical, coming from the actual users. Problem definition is extremely important, and we say we need to suggest that it should be co-definition. So the same user community that you would be collecting data from, you really needed to have defined or co-defined the problem with them so that you really understand the actual nature of this problem. It's only then that you would be able to identify the right features under which you collect your data, or the right data variables. Then you certainly will develop a solution which is responsive to the users. I think that basically is it, and I would have to hand it over to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jenge. So once again, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Mark Mwinde, a research assistant at the ACT AI Institute. So we have some key dates that we need to really have a look at, where the RFP or the call first came out on July 4th, 2025. Then from there, we had a proposal of 2 webinars, where the first one took place on 25th July, and currently we are having the second one. Then the deadline of submission will be on September 4th, 2025. So I kindly urge our applicants who have not yet completed their applications to kindly take note of this submission deadline. Thank you. I call upon Samuel to take us through the next session.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. And big thank you to my colleagues, Fiona, Linus, Grace, and Dr. Jenge. So I'd like to welcome the first person whose hand is raised to ask their question. Can give you, so Kunle, you can unmute your microphone, then we can be followed by Devota, then the team from reports. So we can take the first 8 questions. Welcome, Kunle.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please, thank you so much. The question I want to ask, I'm just joining, is my one of my boss that sent the link to me. So I don't really have much information, and I just joined the meeting a couple of ago. So I just want to know if there's a link we can get to read more, and also just to make our own applications. I'm just getting to know for the first time, and I think it's a very good initiative. So, and I, would love to be part of the program. So, but if you can avail me maybe a link, to know more about the program, because I can ask you, to go back and be explaining again. So I think that would be very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kunle. We can take the next question from
Samuel. It's been shared on the chat.
Sorry?
The link has been shared on the chat. I can check that.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Marcy. So we can take the next 2 questions from Devoda, then a representative from Reports AI team.
Okay, thank you. And the whole ACTS team for the nice presentation. I think the webinar has been very useful for me, because me and my team, we are putting up an application for the same. I have 3 questions. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please. You can hear you. Please proceed.
Thank you. The first question I wanted to ask is about the innovation. I understand the areas of focus, and I understand that the presenter elaborated on the nature of the innovation and the stages. I wanted to ask, can we propose to combine or integrate different applications, since if we have been able to test them separately before, and now we want them to be merged for easy convenience for the users? Is that acceptable, or we must stick to only one kind of innovation? I don't know if my question is clear.
Question is very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Devoda. We'll take one more. Or you have another question?
Yes, I had 3, so that is one. Okay. Can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and then I wanted to ask from the presentation of Dr. Ojenge on data collection, there has been highlights that the data will be public, which I also understand as a requirement from the funding program. but I wanted to ask, what if our innovation does not end up with like new data set, because we do not plan to do any retraining of AI models. So rather it will be more of qualitative data from the community engagement. Is that acceptable, or we must demonstrate new data collection from the project that is going to be linked to the maybe model training or something like that? Hope that is also clear. Can I go to the last question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, about the requirement for cover letter, I wanted to ask, is it only so we are applying as a consortium, and I wanted to know if the cover letter is only from the lead organization, or all the partners are supposed to provide the cover letters and then we merge. I wanted to get that clarity as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Devota. We can take these questions, the first four. I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Jeremiah to address these three, or rather the first four questions. So one is, will the link be available? I think Mercy has already answered that. The second question is, can an applicant combine or integrate multiple solutions into one for the convenience of users? Is that an eligible solution in this project? Second, or rather the third question is, one of the requirements of the funder is to avail the data publicly. So when it comes to their innovation, must they demonstrate new data, or can they continue retraining their current model using qualitative engagement with their user community? And then third is or rather the fourth question, and the third from Devoda is, what are the requirements, or rather what should be contained in the cover letter, especially if they are applying as a consortium?
Thank you, Samuel, and thank you, Devota and Kunle, for the question. Kunle's question has been answered, and the link has been shared. Both the link to the challenge and the link to the YouTube recording for the first webinar have been shared on the chat. Feel free to have access to them. Then the second question from Devota, she's asking whether the innovations could come as merged. I think if it is addressing efficiency and you think it is going to serve the community better when merged as opposed to one, then I would say that please go ahead and merge the solutions. So then we maximize. We said that we really need to maximize on the results of whatever solution that we are coming up with, and our concern is addressing issues with the user community, and they need to be socially and economically impactful. I think that answers your question, Devota. Then on the cover letter, I think if you're coming up as a consortia, then you'd really need to have cover letter from both the organizations, because we really need to understand the commitment of the lead and the one that is the one that is co-leading with you. So if you could get the two cover letters, I think that is going to be okay, because it's going to show us the commitment and then the level of participation of the a member of the consortia. I will call upon Dr. Jenge to answer the question on data sets. Doc, please.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah and Devotha. I think the data set, the qualitative data sets that you will add, that is still data. It's new data. It's refining the older model. The older model had used likely quantitative data, but now you're qualifying that, you're refining that model using qualitative data, and that would therefore optimize your model, and that is part of scaling. I believe, Dr. Jeremiah, from your definition of the different strands of scaling. So I believe that is perfect. I think that's quite fine.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeremiah and Dr. Jenge. We can take questions from the next attendee. So I'll allow Tatiana, Chris, and Glenn to unmute or allow them to talk. So Tatiana, please unmute your microphone and ask your question. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask this question. I wrote my question. I have a two-part question. The first one I wrote in the chat. So we are an organization that is based in Angola. We're actually a small startup that has now have a department that is academy based or technical and further education, postgraduate focused learning. We work in a network with different institutions in different countries. And we have worked on AI specific project with a colleague institution in Switzerland the last year for previous grant that we received last year. And we have then been given the opportunity to utilize the open source algorithm that their team has developed and piloted and has already adapted or have been using in different academic institutions in Europe. And we were given this algorithm as an open source, and we have been adapting the algorithm for the needs of Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa. So in collaboration with Mozambique, Cape Verde, and Guinea-Bissau, Guinea Equatorial, and Saint Tome and Prince. And so the question is, as we're preparing for this call, we're a little bit confused on whether or not we would still qualify or be eligible to apply, given that the algorithm is an open source algorithm that we have adapted, and with our engineers adapted to be of Portuguese speaking, so they can be used in our community. And then we're also combining with a different e-learning system where mentors and students can communicate to facilitate communication and make things a lot more effective. So in the beginning, we were a little bit confused about whether we're actually qualified for, given that we are a consortium and not a consortium, sorry, we're an Angolan-based company, but we do work in collaboration with an European-based organization as well that will mentor us, even though the algorithm that was adapted is in our own server in Angola. So that's our first question, if that would still be okay to make the submission for. On the other hand so my second question is regarding the different countries collaboration, then considering that we are reaching out to other institutions in the 5 other Palopi speaking countries, how would that look like? Would we also need to get information or get a cover letter as well from these institutions before submitting? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. We can enable Chris to ask his question. I can't see his hand. And he has withdrawn his hand. Oh, Chris, I can see you. So I've allowed you to talk. Kindly unmute your microphone.
Thank you. Good morning. My question was, I wrote my question in the QA, but I will read it. It's about the eligibility. So the first speaker said something along the lines of the innovation should affect the sub-Saharan countries, and then later another speaker said that the organization, I believe, should be from the selected sub-Saharan countries. The reason why I'm asking this is because I represent a non-profit that's working solely on African AI, working with African communities, and actually has African employees. However, the organization is registered in Canada. So how does this affect our eligibility for the innovation challenge? Is it enough to make a case for the organization working solely on the African AI and the African communities? Or do you also need that registration aspect too?
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. So we can take these three questions. Two are on eligibility. The first is from Tatiana, who asks, they are organization based in Africa, specifically in Angola. However, they've been working with a European entity, and their solution is an open source, is based, or rather is run by an open source algorithm trained in Europe. However, they'd like to adapt it for the African context. So is their solution eligible? The second question on eligibility is, Chris is asking, he needs clarity on countries that are eligible to apply for this call. And the third question is still on the letter. So she's asking or rather Tatiana is asking, if they are in a consortium, do they need to get a letter from each consortium member? So over to you, Dr. Onunga.
Thank you, Samuel. I would call upon Dr. Jenge to take the question on this consortium that is bringing in Switzerland and then Switzerland and then Angola and the Canadian organization. But I would take the one on eligibility. The question on eligibility, we are saying that this call is talking about we want to advance artificial intelligence in sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa means we want these data sets to be African data sets in nature. We want these applications to be deployed in Africa. And we want these applications to help the African community. We want to Africanize these solutions, scale them, because that is what we're talking about. They have been deployed. They are beyond proof of concept. They are working for, say, region A, but we would want to take them to the next region. On the consortium and the cover letters, just like I said, we are trying to see the level of commitment of members of the consortium. So for us to see the level of commitment of members of the consortium, then we need to see letters from each and every member. So then from those letters, we're able to understand the commitment, and even further get to understand what these members of the consortium will contribute to this call or this challenge. Doc, I hope you're able to get the questions that I would request that you respond to.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. It's a very heavy question. We had it from the first webinar, and I know that other people are going to ask it. So maybe I could spend slightly more time on it, just first to paint the background so that everyone understands where we are coming from. You know, the purpose for this particular funding cycle is to enable indigenous or native Africans to develop their own Africanized AI using their own expertise and as much own resources as possible. Now that is the ideal situation. So obviously we would be happy to have granted only innovations that have been natively developed with native resources. But we know that is probably not practical. So what we will do is we will want to know that if you're in partnership, you're an African entity and you're in partnership with an entity that is abroad, out of Africa, then we want to ask who has the IP for that innovation. It may not even matter whether the algorithms used were developed somewhere else, but that particular solution that you're taking to the user community, who owns it? Our worry is that if that solution is owned, it's developed with an African entity, but still owned by that foreign entity. Now, suppose tomorrow, after we have supported this, the foreign entity decides to take that solution and deploy it out of Africa or deploy it irresponsibly, then you see that's where our fear is. And that's why it's very important that the person who is making the application must be indigenous Africa. So it will have to be, for Malawi, for Angola, it would have to be yourselves. For Chris, with the institution registered in Canada, the registration of the institution is not very important to us. What is important is who owns the innovation, and then obviously it would have to be the African partner that would make the application to be eligible, and then we'll want to know who owns it. The ownership needs to rest, or the larger part of the ownership, certainly, and therefore decision making needs to rest with the African entity. Thank you. I hope that's clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chenge. I'd like to check in with Dr. Onunga if he wants to add anything to Dr. Chenge's explanation.
I think Doc has been able to address it. We really want to have the applications deployed in Africa and have even the data on those applications should be African data. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much. So we'll take the next set of 3 questions from Glenn, Report AI team, and Nekulilo. So Glenn, kindly unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Yes, hello, this is Glenn Schrader here. 3 quick questions. So the first I actually put in the chat, which is going through the application when it sits there and says, describe your scaling. It has a checkboxes, but then there's no text box or no place to attach to describe our scaling. So just wanted to let you know that and let me know if I'm missing something or how it is you want us to describe the scaling. Second question is, our submission is mostly complete. Do you guys do any sort of preliminary review for completeness before September 5th, or is it basically we just submit before September 5th? And then I just want to follow up on the IP ownership, because our solution, the IP kernel will be owned by a Canadian company, but then it's being licensed out to a Botswana company on a 20-year lease. And the data will be African data that's only applicable to Africa. So if you use Canadian data on it, it won't give you accurate results. And so just wanted to clarify that, because the answer there seems kind of counter to what was discussed in the first webinar, where they're saying that IP license was acceptable, versus now where they're saying that the IP must be owned by an African entity. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Glenn. We can take the next question from Report AI team. I can't see their hand anywhere here. So kindly unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Great. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, as you can probably hear, I'm not from Africa. I'm from the UK, but my co-founder, who is actually our CEO and CTO, he's from Mali. He built this reports AI tool in Mali, and now we're both in Nairobi, which is where we're based and where we've set up operations. So we have some initial clients in Mali and some in Nairobi, but we're looking to expand across Africa. There's just something I wanted to check. I did post it in the chat. It's just when you say that the data needs to be open source, I assume that you're more meaning about collecting data to train AI models on, and then that data needs to be open source, because our solution is a platform that helps with streamlining the reporting process for NGOs. So it's really a full workflow management tool, but part of it is using AI to generate very high level and compliant reports for customers, as well as managing the whole kind of workflow within the platform. So when you say that you need to make things open source, I assume you just mean data that the AI models train on, rather than making the code of the platform open. I just wanted to clarify that. And also, like, based on how I just described how our platform works, it's more of like a reporting management platform that has an AI part for generating compliant reports. Is that the kind of thing that you're looking to fund, or are you purely looking at new AI models? Because like within the platform, we are extracting data and we process it in Google Cloud and use Gemini. So we're not building our own AI model. So it's more of a platform for streamlining the reporting workflows for NGOs and other impact organizations. So I was wondering whether that actually fits into the requirements, because some of the things you described maybe sounds like you're more trying to build Africa-centered data to train new AI models on, rather than using kind of existing LLMs and AI tools like Gemini, etc.
Great. Allow us to answer these 4 questions. We'll come back to you, Nakulilo. Back to Dr. Onunga. The first question from Glenn is within the application template is a section that is asking the applicant to grade their scaling, which is followed by a checkbox. However, there's a description area missing. So he'd like to confirm if that is the case. Then secondly is if one submission is almost complete, do you offer pre-screening or pre-review hand-holding before submitting the complete or rather making the final submission? Then the third is regarding IP ownership. He's mentioned that the solution is, or rather the solutions kernel is owned by a Canadian entity. However, it has been leased to an entity in Botswana for 20 years. So you'd like to find out if this kind of IP ownership is supported within this program. Then the final question is from Report Team AI, or rather Report AI team. They are based in Nairobi. However, the founder comes from Mali. So he has two questions. One is what is our understanding of open source? Does that specifically mean just data, or does it also mean both the data and the algorithm developed? And he's mentioned that their application is leveraging existing AI tools, and is their application eligible? So over to you, Dr. Ananda.
Thank you so much, Samuel, and thank you so much, our participants, for the questions. I would say that the Glenn on scaling. So we were asking if you could choose the type of scaling that describes what your solution is all about. So after you have chosen the type of scaling, say you are doing horizontal or vertical. So that is a scaling about the geography. You would want to change from geography A to B. So then you scale, you expand it. The second question that is asking you to describe what this scaling is where now we expect you to relate the type of scaling that you've picked, or the type of scaling that best describes your solution, or what type of scaling that you'd want to do with your solution, and then describe it, relate the type of scaling to your solution, and then tell us more about it and why you think it is impactful. It will be impactful if you choose that type of scaling for your solution. That is what we mean by asking you to do a checkbox and then explain further. On the question of submission and pre-screening, we are not going to pre-screen before we complete the submission, but what we are going to do is that we are going to have 3 or 4 stages of a review. The first review is just going to be the normal check-up, whether you are able to complete your application, whether you are able to attach everything that is required. So then we now have the applications that are fully are compliant to our requirements. After that, then we'll bring in a pool of reviewers who are experts in different areas. We are going to look at, we are going to call upon data experts. We are going to call upon scaling experts. We are going to call upon domain experts. If your application is in health, agriculture, say climate change, etc., then we are going to call people who are in those areas to help us review these applications. We are also going to look at reviewers who are also experts in the areas of technical artificial intelligence, so we are going to call reviewers who are experts in those areas to also help us look at the applications. Then we are also going to look at we are also going to call upon reviewers in the areas of responsible at whether your application is responsible, and that is why we also put a self-assessment tool on whether your application is responsible in terms of no harm to other human beings, whether it's fair, whether it's addressing issues of biasness within this call. So we would not be having a pre-screening before we complete the submission, but we'll require you to submit your application, and then from there, then we are going to do the 3-4 stages that I've talked about in terms of seeing if your application is addressing the domain that you have chosen and is also going to be socially and economically impactful to the community where you're going to deploy it. I want to call upon Dr. Jenge to take us through the remaining questions on IP ownership and the issues of open source, whether we are talking about the data sets only or whether we're talking about the algorithms. Thank you very much. Welcome, Doc.
So, thank you very much, Jeremiah. I'm being tentative going technical into issues of licenses. We are not very strong in that sort of Lego space, but I'll make it very simple and ask this. Who has the biggest say in the use of that AI once it's being scaled, once it enters the process of being scaled? Is it yourselves in Canada, or is it the African entity? You see, and certainly after those 20 years are done, what happens when the license expires? You're saying the licensing is on the kernel. My question is, who has the biggest say on where to deploy and how to deploy that AI innovation in Africa, in the space in which it will be scaling? If you, for instance, has the biggest say on taking away that innovation and reusing it, or putting it to a different use, or using it on a different space than the African entity, then we certainly have reason to worry. For us, that is a question. So when you will be applying, your burden would be to make it very clear to us that the African entity that's supposed to, tomorrow you decided after 2 years that you wanted to retrieve the entire license so that the African entity is not able to put that innovation to use, then you would be able to do that, then we would worry. About the source of the data, that is the report.ai, based in Nairobi, it's only the data which is open source, not the algorithm, because we know data goes to train the algorithm to become a complete AI. So really, it's only the data. Why is data collection is a very costly affair, and it would be nice that funds that are coming from IDSC, which are basically public funds, are creating resources which then are accessible to other people, especially for social impact. The kind of AI that you're making, it seems like this is data which is going to optimize processes within the NGO. That is, the NGO processes. We know NGOs are basically social entities. Your burden now would be certainly it qualifies. We will be looking at it. But its score versus the other entities that are also applying, or versus the other applications, would be based on impact. So it would be your burden certainly to work out, to tell us, to paint the picture clearly that within this process, the AI is optimizing the NGO processes in such a way that it's creating impact on maybe the end users of this process. If you are looking at, say, 10,000 farmers in a certain region as an NGO, then if you can, demonstrate that the optimization of these processes by the AI is creating this amount of value to these 10,000 farmers or refugees, then you see now that is a level of quantification that can enable us to compare with the other applications. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nunga and Dr. Jenge, for providing clarity on those questions, specifically on IP and open source data sets. So I think at this point in time, I'll invite Nekulilo. Kindly unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Nekulilo. I'm joining from Namibia. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect.
Please proceed.
All right. So I'm joining from Namibia. I have several questions also on in the chat. If you can also answer those, but I have two more questions. The first one was actually provoked by the another person's question that was on cover letters. Okay, so now I want to point out that our project, although it is not implemented, but it is being taken out by one startup. It is going to collaborate with different ministries and because what we are trying is to make a project that is bridging academia, the government, and private sector. So in that sense, since we are not really in a consortium, but rather just collaborating, do we still need letters from all our stakeholders or people or bodies that we are collaborating with? And if so, all of them or just some, and maybe like how many? The second question, it's not maybe a question, it's just an additional information. I am from Namibia. We have really a relatively small community when it comes to AI. So many are times that because our people that are into AI are mostly operating in silos and are mostly working outside the country. So we really have a relatively small community that is dealing with AI, for instance. And most of the time, when we apply for this kind of course, then we are overlooked because we are competing with big projects from other countries, for example, Kenya and whatnot. So do you look at specific criteria when it comes to this to ensure inclusion of countries like Namibia, or how does it work? Yeah. So those are the two questions that I have, and then I have some other in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nekulilo, for your questions. Yes, I captured questions in the chat, and allow me to combine with the ones that you have just raised. So your first question is regarding letters of collaboration. Second question is on, is there a specific criteria that ensures that smaller AI communities, such as the ones in Namibia, are included? The third question in the chat is how many projects will be taken up by this call? And the third, or rather the fourth question is, If the project is implemented in consortia, do we need to list qualifications and backgrounds of all experts that will be involved in the project? So I think, Dr. Jeremiah, you can take all four.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Nelewa. I think for the cover letters, I still remind you that we need for all. So then we see their level of commitment and what specifically they'll be doing. You can get into a consortium agreement with a number of organizations, and when the funds are awarded or granted, then maybe one would not commit to work, and when we start our follow-ups in terms of monitoring and evaluation, and then now blame games now come in, where now someone says that it was partner X who was supposed to be doing XYZ, and us who were supposed to be doing this and that, and we've been able to accomplish our part. But if there is a cover letter that is showing that they're going to create time for this particular work, then that is what we will use, to pin them down, that you are able to agree that you are going to work on XYZ. So then we move this forward. So I think for the cover letter, we need cover letters to show commitment for all that are going to be part of the application that you're making. Yes, Nelewa? Is this a new and or yeah?
Yes, please. I have a follow-up because, for example, most of our collaborators are at the ministries, and like in Namibia, it's very difficult. I don't know how it is in other countries, but it's very difficult to get. If I say that Monday I'm going to these offices to get a letter from, for example, the ED or somebody from the ED's office, it will still take long to get that letter because then it will go through a whole chain, and so I'm wondering now, maybe is it okay just to get maybe for example, if I say the commission on research, which is mandated by all the ministries anyway, to advocate for research in the country, can I get from them and not go to all the ministries that are going to be collaborating in this?
That is very good. But what I can say is that if you can show us that you are in the process of looking for this letter and it has not come from the ministry, then I think you may submit, and when you get that letter, then you share it with us. I think that is a fair way of dealing with your case.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. Then okay. Then there is the question on affirmative action. You're talking about Namibia being, Dr. Jenge, would you take this?
Thank you, Jeremiah. Yeah, the issue of Namibia being a fairly young AI ecosystem, I understand what Nkulilo is saying, that there are other countries that have more mature AI ecosystems and therefore may exhibit probably more sophisticated AI, but it is really not this level of sophistication that we are looking for. We are looking for impact. The impact can be realized by extremely simple AIs You can have a Gen AI that trains, for instance, people on reproductive health. It has a way of training maybe mothers in the rural on reproductive health, and it can be very simple, developed on very simple platforms, and yet it has a big impact. Then we certainly would be looking at that. So I do not think that the playing field is tilted against you. I just believe that you need to identify what you can do that can create impact. Thank you.
Thank you.
The questions on qualifications, I think that is a question that is very important, and we are going to require that we get to engage with the members who are going to be part and parcel of this project, even if we wouldn't do it face to face at this particular time, but we need to have a feel of what their qualifications are, their areas of expertise, and what they are bringing into this challenge in terms of what they're going to participate in. So we require that your company, your application with their CVs, it could be a 2-pager, a 4-pager, just to have a feel and understand who we are dealing with as far as this call is concerned. Then I will again call upon Dr. Ojenge maybe to briefly make a comment on the number of projects in this call. It is not something that we may decide on now, but let him make a comment on that. Doc?
Thank you, Jama. I lost you somewhere, but believe that you're asking about how many grants are going to be awarded.
Yes, Doc.
Currently, we are aware of only three awards, but our funders are talking about putting up more money. We can't guarantee that, but that is the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc, for that.
So we have a hand from Kunle, and thank you, Dr. Onunga and Dr. Jenge, for providing those comprehensive responses. Kunle, please unmute your microphone and ask the question. Okay, I think you've withdrawn your hand. So I think you can go now to the chat. We've had quite a number of questions. We had 19, but we've already exhausted Naku Lilo's questions. So we have questions from Abdurrahim, whereby he states, are there letters from partner institutions needed for the application at this stage? Then his second question is embedding links to pilot work allowed in the application? And his third question is the specific component funded under this call, what is encouraged for open source, or is it all previous work? Abdurrahim, would you want to unmute your microphone and ask this question so that we can capture it clearly? Kindly unmute your microphone.
Yeah, sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. You getting me clearly?
Afternoon. Please proceed.
Yeah, sure. So the question regarding the links that I was asking about. So usually most applications discourage embedding hyperlinks that would more or less show video or pictures of the work that you have been doing. So I was asking if that is acceptable during this application. So for example, where they are asking for the pilots user engagement. We would like to showcase that, yes, this has been done. We have online Excel of some of those work that would want to, for the evaluators to more or less click and look at. So that was what the question was about. So the other question regarding the open source nature, say, for example, we have an EdTech solution which also utilizes AI that we have been working on that has been more or less piloted. So I was asking if we should, because I remember one of the speakers mentioned that open source is encouraged. So is it that you are looking at the whole solution of itself being open source in terms of the software, the data that will be collected and the algorithm? I think this has been answered more or less in parts where it was mentioned that it's the data that would be looked at. So that was the question. Is it that you'll be looking at that, or is it that when ACTS funds for these components, which is up to 100,000, and we use that amount to collect data to more or less ensure that we have more robust models? Is it that you are looking at us open sourcing the model of itself that has been enhanced or developed during this specific process? I hope that clears it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Dr. Onunga, would you like to take the two questions that are unanswered? So he's asking, and I think this has been partially been answered, is the funding to support collection of data that should be open source, or does it also mean that the model developed with that data will also be open source? And then the second question is regarding embedding of links to the application.
Thank you, Samuel. I think the question on whether we are asking to have the algorithms, both the algorithms and the data sets to be open source was answered by Dr. Chenge, and he said that it is the data sets that we would want to have on open source, and it tried to link it with the funding that is going to be used to collect this data. The idea is, the idea here is, you could come up with an application. You have collected data sets, but somebody else, maybe in future, would also want to come up with the same application, maybe at something that is related, but maybe different, but would want to use more or less the same data sets that you used, or add to this data set that you have. So IDRC, as a policy of having this data open on open source platform, so then if they are funding this other applicant, then they would spend less, rather, for example, on coming up with the data, because the data sets will already be there, or would allow this person to maybe study this data set and see if the data sets fits the kind of solution that they would want to work on. But on the algorithm, the algorithm would show us a perfect solution, and this is now going to be your application, because the IP in this case belongs to you. So it is only the data sets that we are requesting that if you be lucky and you're granted the opportunity to expand you scale up your solution, then the data sets are put on an open source platform. On the issue of links, I think we are not going to buy you. You really need to package your. You really need to package your application in a way that is going to make you leverage on on other applications, that which makes yours say more impactful socially, economically, and addresses the African issues that we want to address in this particular call. So whichever way you decide to package your application, I think we wouldn't now ask you not to, accompany it by embedding the links. So it's up to you to look at how you're going to package your application so then it meets our requirements and it comes with the impact that we so desire. I don't know whether Dr. Jenge would want to chip in and add on any of the answers that I've given, Doc.
I think that was adequate. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Jeremiah. We have a number of questions still unanswered. So in the chat, there's a question on when are we expected to hear back from ACT? I think this is in regards to the projects that will be awarded. Then we have questions from Austin and Jonas. They are asking the same question. Is it possible to submit an application in French, or is the call only accepting applications in English? Then you can take this third question. Just going through the list here. So Muyudi is asking, or rather, he has observed that the submission platform currently only supports uploading a cover letter, budget, and work plan. Where can we upload CVs while completing the application? Dr. Onunga, you'd like to take those three questions?
Yes, thank you, Samuel, and thank you, participants, for the questions. On the languages, you could do either English or French. You're free to put in your application either in English or French, and that is why we had the application in those two languages. There is the French part of the application, and then there is the English part of the application. So you could choose which language you could propose your solution or your application on. Then the reply, I think we are going to, the call is coming to an end next week on Thursday, that is 4th of September. So you'd give us 2 months. So I think sometimes early December, we'll be able to communicate. But in between then, we shall be, there would be back and forth communication. Maybe if we miss something from your call and we would want to have that, then we would be sending in emails maybe to confirm a few things as we go on with our review process. But I think a maximum of 2 months, we should be able to get back to you, whether you're successful, whether you're not successful, but we shall communicate with everyone who has completed this set of application. The cover letter plus CVs, I think we assumed that you are going to look at this, especially when you're describing the team. You know, our approach to this scaling innovation is that we never wanted to make it so academic. So then, even if you are a diploma holder, and you have an innovation and you'd want to scale it up, we were thinking that would give you the chance to look at what this innovation is, present it to us, and then we evaluate and see if we could grant you the amount of money that is put up here, and then you're able to scale it up. So then that is why we kind of did not give a lot of weight to the CVs, but you could summarily, when you're introducing whatever you're coming up with, maybe give us a summary of these team members, those who you're going to work with, especially now that most of us are going to work as a consortia. I think that is that, unless any of my team members would want to add onto the answers that I've given.
You can also merge two documents when, for instance, you're sending a letter of support at the top. You may title letter of support and then say plus or and CV, and at the bottom it's been merged, then we'll still be able to read it. But we like Jeremiah is saying, we didn't think it was so essential. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ojenge and Dr. Nunga, for that elaborate explanation regarding the submission, or rather the documents required for this call. I'm going through the chat. I can see we don't have any other questions. We've answered most of them. However, there's a hand up from Abdul Rahim. I'm not sure if your question was answered. You can unmute your microphone and ask your follow-up question.
Hi, everybody. I was just going to ask around the cover letters that would be coming from the ministries specifically, because for us, we would also be partnering with a couple of ministries. So would you prefer the letter to more or less come from the political head in her instance? In Sierra Leone, the political head is the ministers, and for each ministry, and the administrative head is more or less the permanent secretary. So I don't know which of the two would you prefer for the letter to come from, or is it that the letter can more or less come from anybody?
Dr. Nunga, would you like to take that question?
Yes. I think it would not. It is not. If you're able to get whoever the minister is, and maybe append his or her signature on this particular cover letter, well and good. But if you get hold of the permanent secretary to confirm that the ministry in which is the accounting officer is partnering with your organization, I think that is acceptable to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Onunga. So we still have about 17 minutes in this webinar for questions. We've actually done very well. We've gone through over 41 questions so far, but then we still have time for a couple more. Yes, Mercy.
I need to confirm whether the Q&A was exhausted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Go through that now. Perhaps I can hand over the microphone back to Dr. Nunga to just give us a quick summary of today's session before we hand it over to Dr. Ojenge, who's our institute leader.
Thank you, Samuel, and thank you, my team, for creating time to join us here and have this. I want to remind our applicants that from the submittable that you're using to fill in your proposal, we've seen that we have over 980 applications that are still pending completion. We also have around 80 or thereabout completed, but I want to call upon those who have not completed. I just want to remind them that we have up to Thursday midnight, just before the morning of Friday, East Africa time, to spare some time and complete your application. I want to call upon the applicants to log into the submittable and continue to fill in their proposals to completion, so then we are able to have a look at them, and as this is going to show how much we are responsive in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of scaling innovations in Africa. If we would get the number of applications that are still pending completion, I think it is going to show that we are responsive and we are taking technology seriously. I want to thank everyone for attending, my team members for coming through this, and then I would call upon Dr. Jenge maybe to close it for us. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for keeping it in here. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jeremiah. We are very grateful for your being here to eliminate some of the things that we ought to have done and concerns that we ought to have addressed. I would also want to urge everyone not to lose drive based on the fact that our current funding is going to be able to grant only three applicants, that we still have hope that our funder may open up more opportunities. But even besides that, we are also intending to open up a repository or set up a community of practice of developers in AI across the continent. And my feeling is that, so my conviction is that you probably also want to be there and your innovation to appear there, because then we will be going through a very elaborate process of creating opportunities, looking at who could merge with who could work with who in future instances, because those are part of the requirements or demands that are being levied on us by our funders if we have a good visibility of the AI space in Africa. So please apply on. Thank you very much, and back to you and over.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenge. Fiona, are you able to close it for us?
Yes. Just to echo my colleague's sentiments, please complete your application. It's a very great opportunity, really. And so we look forward to seeing your completed application. So Thank you so much for joining us. In case you have any other issues, please reach out to us via email. We'll be sure to communicate, and I will wish you all a good afternoon, a good morning if you're joining us from the other side of the world. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sana.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.